Yeah. Hey. Well, yeah. Goonies never say die. You know what time it is. We got horror suspense. Listen, Kevin Trav digging in the bin. Dirty Dancing in Encino Man. You never know what you'll find in Uncle Doug's bin. What's in the bin? Yeah, Uncle Doug's bin. He's got all these flicks from way back when. Marty McFly in the DeLorean. Gotta love the Cage and whatever he's in. Face off Snake Guys, you know it's a win. What's in the bin? Yeah, Uncle Doug's bin. What's in the bin? Yeah, Uncle Doug's bin. What's in the bin? Yeah, Uncle Doug's bin. What's in the bin? Yeah, let's begin.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Uncle Doug's DVD Bin, the podcast where we take your favorite movies, give you some facts, tell you the plot in an hour, maybe more, maybe less. There might even be a few jokes along the way. I'm your host, Travis.
And I'm your host, Kevin.
Kevin, how's it going, my dude?
Dude, I got to jump in here because in that intro, you just lied to everyone. You said favorite movies, and I got to tell you. Yeah. So you said to me, you said, Kevin, I want to pick the next movie, right? So you reach in the bin, and you pull out the movie, and you say, oh, it's going to be a Bruce Willis movie, right? And I'm excited. I'm thinking, man, Bruce Willis is in some real bangers, right? We got like a Die Hard. We got a Sixth Sense. We got maybe even a Fifth Element, man. You know, kind of quirky, funny, awesome sci-fi action. But that's not what it was it, Travis?
Nope, it was definitely different than that. And you know, when I did pull that out of the bin and I was excited and I told you and you had this deflated look on your face, I was like, Kevin don't know. I went to the man himself. I went to Uncle Doug and I said, hey, Dougie, check this out. This is what we're doing on the podcast next. And he took a hard look at it and he said, oh, that's that old Da Vinci Code prequel, isn't it? I said, what are you talking about? Da Vinci Code prequel? I was like, 1991, Dan Brown was still in high school, Doug.
Oh, jeez.
But he's like, no, I've watched it. It's a Da Vinci Code prequel, you see. I see where he's coming from, but god dang, Doug, it's just not.
That's so classic Uncle Doug. He's both right and wrong at the same time. Like it's amazing. The man is a walking paradoxical enigma. It's incredible.
And you know Doug don't read Dan Brown. I don't know where he even heard that. He's reading some weird conspiracy blogs on the wrong side of the internet. That's all I know.
No, you know what it was? It was Da Vinci Code had Tom Hanks in it, and you know Uncle Doug loves some Tom Hanks, as does the rest of us, really.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, Forrest Gump, 10 out of 10.
I remember back, it had to have been like maybe 2007 I saw this, and I was getting the DVDs in the mail, and I was like binging the Sopranos seasons, because I think that show was just getting ready to wrap up, or it already wrapped up, so I was trying to like catch up on that because I'd never watched it, and I would do two Sopranos discs, and then I'd do a movie disc, and then I got this Hudson Hawk movie. I thought, oh man, this has got Bruce Willis in it. It's kind of an action, kind of a caper film. I can't wait to watch. And I just remember watching it, and I kept thinking, like, is it gonna get better? Like, when is this gonna get? And it just didn't. It never got any better, Travis.
I know, and that's the thing. I mean, we're gonna go through it, but each act seems like it had a different director in some sense. I mean, it's pretty incredible. But man, I feel bad for you back in 2007. And so I do actually feel some amount of guilt that I brought you back to this movie 15 years later. You thought you were past it. You thought you never had to go back down that road again. And you met me and Uncle Doug, and look what happened.
You know what though? Honestly, like I actually enjoyed it more knowing what I was in for. This is a weird analogy, but it's like, okay, if you've had one root canal, when they tell you got to have a second one, you're like, oh, this is really not going to be great. But at least I know what to expect this time. You know, at least I know that I'm going to get through it. So you can put that, if they're going to do a reprinting of this for some reason and put it back on DVD or Blu-ray, you can quote me on the box of saying that Hudson Hawk is like a root canal.
Goes down better the second time, which I guess that's not a great root canal analogy, but it's not as bad the second go round.
I don't think there's any good root canal analogies, really. Well, Trav, let me tell you, this movie released on May 24th of 1991. It was directed by Michael Hlayman, written by Bruce Willis. Thank goodness Brucey never wrote another film. Robert Kraft.
I didn't realize he wrote this.
Yeah. I think he contributed on the story. I don't think he actually did this screenplay, but somebody might IMDb me on that and see if I'm right or wrong. Robert Kraft and Steven D'Souza. It starred Bruce Willis, Danny Arejo. Oh man, just a beautiful Andy McDowell. Good gracious, that woman is just my 1990s heart throbbing. And then you know how I feel about one James Coburn. He is also in this. I know.
Both of your heartthrobs in one movie. I mean, technically all three. I know how you feel about Bruce Willis, too. We talked about that. So, I mean, I definitely know why you were drawn to it.
I feel like I owe Bruce Willis an apology. I mean, not that he's waiting around for my apology, but I kind of dogged on some of his performances in his last quite a few movies. I thought man, he just really seems like he's kind of phoning it in. And it turns out that he had I guess a neurological disorder or a brain disorder that made it difficult for him to act, and he's just recently retired. I'm man, but he must have just it had to have been affecting him, and he was having. I mean, it's not like he needed the money. He's Bruce Willis, so he just loved acting that much that he wanted to keep doing it as long as possible. And it's man, I kind of feel crappy about dogging on the guy's performances, to be honest. I mean, I have to eat a little crow here.
There you go. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of his more recent movies. I think Red 2. I don't know, but no, it's tough. It's tough fate to go down that way as an actor. Maybe he was in denial for a little bit too. It's tough to keep those guys that think they still got it. It's tough to convince them it's time to step away. But he had a great career.
Yeah, man. Nothing to be ashamed of there, except for maybe Hudson Hawk. Maybe he should definitely be ashamed of Hudson Hawk, because it just is not. Okay, look, I gotta quit. I gotta quit dogging this movie, man. Because you know what? We did have an entertaining runtime of the film. We had some jokes, and you know what? Mm-hmm. 1 out of every 600 jokes in the movie lands. So
right, in which I was told by you, when you're learning to do stand-up, which I'm kind of thinking about doing, you're that's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not which bad. Says a lot about your career in stand-up, but also gives me a bit of a grim outlook for myself.
Well, I mean, there's also the possibility that I wasn't so great at stand-up. So, I mean, there's a possibility of that. But you, Travis, you did what you always do for us, man, and you went out there, you braved the wiles of the internet and brought us back some reviews that you're bringing to the table. So I sure would like to hear some of those.
Absolutely, and it's always weird to have not seen the movie and then go fetch reviews for the movie that you're just about to watch. So you're kind of setting yourself up in some ways for which one am I going to believe? The 5-star, and you get the tone of is this 5-star person just over the moon for no reason, or are they legitimately telling you that this is good, or is that 1-star person just dogging it just because they dog every movie they watch? So it's hard to tell. So that's kind of the fun of it. So we got people who loved it here. We got a 5-star. This was a rewatch by Patrick Dale Moore, May 10th, 2018. He had no idea what was coming.
Nope.
Man, he had 2018, he's just innocent. Had no idea. He says, Hudson Hawk is a children's film that is too violent and has language inappropriate for children. Thankfully, directors like Robert Rodriguez figured out how to do this right. Hudson Hawk remains one of the greatest terrible movies ever made. I watched it with my cousin who had never seen it, and we laughed all the way through. So Patrick's I don't get why everybody's so mad. This is a children's movie that sucked as a children's movie, and me and my cousin got high and laughed at it a couple times. It's not bad. 5 stars.
Where is Patrick from? That accent, man. You're settling into something comfortable there. I'm feeling it,
dude. All of my characters for the past 3 days have had country accents. I can't shake it.
Definitely really enjoyable.
Well, Patrick dug that. And so he had a 5-star, and I got to tell you, man, Patrick's 5-star was probably the most glowing 5-star, and he still said that it was a great, terrible movie. So take that for what it's worth. Now we're going to move to people that were meh on it, which I got to say very few and far between, because people were either real hot or real cold on this one. So we got one from Liz Furla. This is from April 1st, 2022, just a couple weeks ago, by recording time. 7 months ago, if you're listening to this.
That's right.
They say, apparently this is classed as one of the worst films of all time. How? How? Can't believe it.
She can't.
3 stars.
Really? She can't believe that this is classed as one of the worst movies of all time. I mean, you know what? I might back Liz up on this because I've seen. I don't know if I've seen worse movies necessarily, but I've definitely seen movies I hated more.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we made it to the end of this one. There's been movies I've just quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not that it's not entertaining. It's just dumb.
It's just so dumb. There was, and we'll probably miss it when we're going through the plot, but there was one gag in there that just like killed me when Bruce Willis's character Hudson Hawk is having dinner in Rome, and he orders like fettuccine or something, and then he asks the waiter to bring him some ketchup, and the waiter brings out like the ketchup in like a champagne bucket with ice. I just lost it. That was I said, 1 out of every 600 jokes in this movie just lands, you know?
Yeah, it's not that, you'll come away with something that you'll remember. And that's, that's the importance of film.
It really is.
Another one that I liked, 3 stars from Mrs. Death. So
Whoa.
March 31st,
That can't be a real
2022.
name. That can't be.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know how they're getting away with it. It just says, bro, what? I just love that was a 3-star. They're like, not bad overall, but what happened?
Well, what?
My God, what have I done? What a watch.
Just do. That's time I can't get back. But bro, you know what? That is what I was thinking a lot during this movie was, bro, what?
What just happened? Yeah.
These are two.
We did say that a lot.
Looking at these are 2 pretty recent views. Like, not just us are watching this in 2022. Like, these are both from 2022. These are both from this year.
I know. And I'll go ahead and admit, it's really hard to sort by time on Letterboxd. You're either getting yesterday, you're getting 2007, which is where we get Juka Kova from, who's our 1-star for tonight. People low on it. This is the section of the show where we read people that were just upset. He says, and I think this one reads better with the accent, so let me lean in a little bit if you don't mind, Kev.
Nail it.
I begun watching Hudson Hawk to break the illusion of it being a good movie since I remember loving it 12 or so years ago. I succeeded. There isn't much good to say about Hudson Hawk. Bruce Willis overacts harshly, and much of the plot makes no sense whatsoever. It has many holes, as many holes as a fishnet, and many that are the size of a house. The narrator has so irritating voice. That's an actual quote. The narrator has so irritating voice that I almost stopped watching before Willis was first on screen, and that isn't far from the beginning. So please, don't watch it. He's just looking out for us. He's like, look, if you don't like a narrator that's kind of middling, don't even try it, because you're not going to get more than 18 seconds. You're not going to get through the scroll.
Yeah, that was I don't know. I don't want to dog on the actor that was doing it, but that was a god awful voiceover. It was just I remember commenting on that when we got started with it. I was like, gosh, this is a terrible voice. And like, I don't know what voice they were going for, and I don't know if it was an actor in the movie. The closest I could get would be the actor that was playing like Tommy 5-tone or 6-tone or just Tommy, whatever that character is. Maybe it was him doing it. I don't know. It wasn't hitting on much.
And now that I look back, I don't even know why there was a narrator. Why was this in like a weird storybook?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense at all.
It's like, that's weird, because it's looking backward, but it has like this weird contemporary set. I don't know. It is strange.
While we're doing reviews, I was talking to one of my buddies, Steven, about this, and it was like, hey, the next movie we're gonna do on this podcast is Hudson Hawk. He's like, oh man, I love that movie. I was like, what? That movie's terrible. He's like, no, it's a good one. I was like, dude, it really wasn't good. He said, no, and I was like, when did you last watch this movie? He's like, well, I was 12. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you probably did enjoy that when you were 12. Okay, fair enough.
Come on, Steven. You got to dive back in. Watch it for the podcast. Follow along.
Yeah, he might. I'll have to, when this drops, I'll let him know he just got shouted out. So
yeah, and that I was pulling for him, and you're being an a-hole.
Yeah, well, that would come as no surprise to him because he's known me for a while. So, man, this movie starts out, and for some reason, we need an unnecessary Leonardo da Vinci scene. We need an introductory scene with Leonardo da Vinci. And so we see Leonardo da Vinci in his studio, and he's working on basically all of his inventions at once, from what I can tell. He never I feel like maybe it's the strong Italian coffee, but he's got a case of ADHD, and he's just running around working all these different projects. And we see him create this device, this machine that's utilizing crystals of, let's just call it unobtainium, because I have no idea what these crystals are made out of, and the movie doesn't bother to want to explain it to you. Sometimes they call them crystals, sometimes they call them gemstones. Doesn't really matter, does it? But these pieces and this machine he's made does what alchemists in the Middle Ages had been trying for decades, if not hundreds of years, to accomplish, which it can turn lead into gold. Right, and that's sort of the setup of this. But there's some wacky stuff that happens in this opening vignette, wouldn't you say, Trav?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. You got, well, first of all, let's comment Leonardo da Vinci. Even back in the day, wearing a fake beard. I don't know why he was doing that. He looked like he was trying to disguise himself for some reason.
Makes him look smarter. Makes him look smarter. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in friendly, but it was clearly, fake. That was the first comment you made, like, oh, I could tell this movie's going to be bad because the facial hair looks completely fake. Then I can't stop staring at that. But no, this was a real big day for Da Vinci, because outside of realizing, like, gosh dang, I just turned lead into gold, he celebrates by running outside and hopping in his brand new helicopter he just built, and just flies off.
No. He's a smart guy. He doesn't hop in it. He loads some stooge in it.
That's right. To test it, little test flight. He knows better. He knows better.
He's like, I'm Da Vinci. You're like, your name's Giuseppe. Just get in this thing and take off, man. And he sends this guy off to the countryside.
Yeah, sends that guy off in the countryside. So it was a big day, man. Gets his helicopter working and turns all these things into, or turns the lead into gold. But he has these three pieces that are extremely important to this whole process, these gemstones or whatever. And realizing that, like, he's got something, I guess, valuable on his hands, doing what any genius guy would do, he decides, I better hide this from people, from no-gooders. And so you can see him kind of darting his eyes around the room looking for places to stash these three very, very crucial pieces to this entire film. For some reason, he hides those in random, I guess, artifacts of his. I suppose I don't know if he's made these things. They're just in his office.
Yeah. Well, Da Vinci's a genius, but he's also lazy. So he just grabbed the first three inventions that he had around and just stuffed these crystals in it. And guys, don't worry. This is going to pay off because it's going to come back, man. I also want to point out here that he was also working on the Mona Lisa. And I would say the common factor in a lot of this movie is like callbacks that don't actually pay off. And this is where we see it start. You see the Mona Lisa, and he's painted all of it but her mouth. And the Mona Lisa subject, the person that he's painting, is there, and she smiles, and she's got these just jacked up teeth. And we go, oh, okay, that's why you don't paint her smile.
Which is kind of funny by itself. I mean,
I guess
it's not the most hilarious thing, but it set the tone for the movie, because up till then you've seen, like, you saw like a Da Vinci scene, and you're like, is this a funny movie? Is this an action movie? Was it a history movie? What's going on here? You see the smile, and you're like, oh, it's a goofy movie, right? Am I right, guys? It's a goofy movie.
No, a goofy movie. That was Disney. That's something else, man.
That's a good movie. Yeah, that
is a good movie. I don't want to say like Disney or Goofy movie too much, because they might come at us with a lawsuit. Those Disney lawyers are serious, man. Well, they jump forward into the future, and we see Eddie. Hudson Hawkins. Yeah, okay, that's his name. Sure, he's being released from Sing Sing, and we need to know that he's the greatest cat burglar of all time. So they do what all good writers do. Instead of demonstrating, they just have a character say, "You're the greatest cat burglar of all time." Because that's just good writing. We just need to know that. So it's
also just hard to make that clear when the guy's in prison. Yeah, it's like, well, he clearly is he not the second best? We might not know who the best is, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't know the best because the best never gets caught, right? And
right?
As we see some of Eddie or Hudson Hawk's robberies, we realize, man, this guy's really bad at being a cat burglar. I don't know why everybody's in such high esteem.
And I can't tell if that's the joke or not, which drives me nuts.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can't tell the jokes, and I'm not gonna dog every single time they do this because it's literally the entire movie. But like when him and Tommy talk about a song, and that's the gimmick that comes up in this movie a lot, where they're like timing a heist. They'll name like a song, and they'll be like, "That song's 4 minutes and 37 seconds." It's never 4 minutes and 37 seconds. They talk about Whitney Houston singing at Super Bowl 17. She never sang at Super Bowl. Like every factoid that these two throw out is completely wrong, and I can't tell if that was like the writers too lazy to do research, or if they're just it's part of these two characters that they think they know everything, but they're morons. I don't know which. Doesn't matter, but it happens a lot. So Eddie is getting out of jail. And now the corrupt parole officer Gates is trying to talk him into doing an art heist, and Hudson's like, "Nah, I don't want to do that, man. I'm just getting out of jail." And because again, you've been in jail for a while, you want to at least get out, maybe have yourself a delicious cappuccino when your boy Tommy Five Tone shows up to pick you up from jail.
I mean, first of all, let's just touch on it. Tommy Five Tone. Is it necessary to have a name that stupid? Why not Three Tone? Why not just go up one? Why did you have to go up three?
I don't
know, man. Understand why it's Five Tone. I will say though, Danny Aiello in this movie is great. He's one of my favorite people in the movie. He actually has some comedic timing, believe it or not, which no one else was schooled on for this, other than another guy we'll get to. But Danny is great. But yeah, offers him his favorite drink, a cappuccino. They're going down the road, slams on the brakes. He ends up spilling this hot cappuccino. Bruce Willis's character does. Hudson Hawk spills his cappuccino, and that's going to become a theme for the movie. This guy can't get a cappuccino in his freaking mouth. Every time he gets ready to do it, it introduces a new act to the film. That's something that you have to glom onto there. But now they're headed off to their old stomping grounds. They got a bar that they used to hang out 10 years ago, but things have changed in 10 years. It's not the same place.
Yeah, we got to mention old Hudson Hawk had been arrested and he'd been in jail for 10 years. I will just to call back the cappuccino thing and to point out another thing that's absolutely stupid in this movie. You see the scene where he spills the cappuccino. He spills the foam off the top. There's literally plenty of cappuccino left in the cup.
So much cappuccino.
But I guess, you know what, man? If I can't have a cappuccino with the foam, I don't want a cappuccino at all either. I got to agree with Bruce Willis here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And they also refer to it as coffee a lot, and I don't know if it's just me. I find those two things to be extremely different. But they do interchange the term. I'm not even a guy that gets mad about these kind of things, but because I saw it in a movie and I noticed it, I was like, really, guys? There is a difference. You don't call a coffee a cappuccino. You don't call a cappuccino a coffee. They're two different things.
There was a gas station near my house when I grew up, and I used to go up there, and they had a machine called the cappuccino machine. And,
of course.
And I thought I was having like real Italian cappuccino. When I would get it, and spoiler alert, Travis, I wasn't. So yeah,
poor guy.
The pair end up at their old bar, which now. Again, this is a problem I have. So Tony Five Tone owns this bar, right? This really successful bar. Now, when Hudson Hawk went to jail, it was kind of a dive bar, I guess. With guys like Crazy Eddie and Two-Face Luke and Sammy Smelly Socks or whatever all the guys' names were hung out in. But now it's good dudes. An upscale bistro where all the yuppie stock traders are hanging out, and you go, okay, well, I mean, that sucks if you're a guy that used to drink at this bar, but if you're Tommy Five Tone and you own this bar, you're breaking in cash left and right. Dude. You're beating cash off with both hands. You know what I'm saying? So why is he so eager to jump in on the robbery that gets proposed later? But, hey, man, we'll leave that for another time. So our pal, again, Hudson Hawk is sitting at the bar trying to get himself a cappuccino when the Mario brothers fire a gun off in the middle of a bar through a crowded room and somehow manage to not hit anybody but shoot the cappuccino cup that Hudson Hawk is holding.
Right? Which, I mean, we don't have to get into the specifics of, trigonometry and physics, but it's a wonder no one else got hurt. And No one else seemed to react to the people just shooting cappuccino glasses out of people's hands at the bar.
Maybe it's normal there. I don't know.
And they literally are the Mario brothers, Caesar Mario and Anthony Mario. It's not Mario Luigi didn't just hop some mushrooms in here and just start bouncing on people's heads. This is Frank Stallone, by the way, who's very obviously Frank Stallone. He's in the movie briefly. But yeah, these are the bad guys. These are the crime bosses. And it's one thing to point out. We have when Hudson Hawk is leaving prison, he has a parole officer that escorts him out. This is he goes by Gates. I can't remember his first name, but he's very clearly corrupt, and he's trying to sort of usher Hudson back into the game. Right? He's trying to get him. He's like, I know some scores for you. I don't think he says that, but that's kind of the gist. And so these Mario brothers, after they sort of interrupt this cappuccino sip for the second time, I mean, we're talking within 5 minutes. Bruce Willis has not been able to get any cappuccino in.
Poor guy.
They get him over, get his attention, and say that they're behind this art heist, this operation that Gates had proposed to them. And then they really put the pressure on Hudson. They're like, man, you do this or we'll hurt you. You know how the mafia is. You know, Kevin.
Yeah,
of course
yeah,
you know.
yeah. I deal with the mafia all the time in my mundane suburban middle-aged life. Of course, yeah. Now I'm looking at the notes here that you made, Travis, and there's a note here that says reindeer goat cheese pizza. You wanna jump in on that one?
Yeah, man. He references that a lot. I think he's looking at the menu in this bar, and he's I can't remember exactly what he sees, but he's like, reindeer goat cheese pizza. And I know, like, out of context, listening to this podcast, you're like, guys, you're just yelling quotes from the movie. But like, a lot of these things, you can tell when they deliver the lines, they thought this was the funniest thing that anybody had ever written. Like, they were so proud of it. Like, man, we're going to say reindeer goat cheese pizza. They were proud of it. It actually comes back, I think, at least one more time, if not two more times in the film. He tries to, like, slam, I'm going to say progressive pizza by referring to it as reindeer goat cheese pizza.
Progressive pizza. Gosh, that should be the name of my autobiography. Progressive pizza. But not like as in socially progressive. It's pizza that progresses very slowly over time to become pizza. Yeah, it's weird the jokes that they decided in the comedy business, be it improv or be it stand-up comedy, when you bring a joke back, you call it a callback. And it's so weird the terrible jokes they decided to do callbacks for in this movie. Like they were literally not the funny ones. But that's not my problem to solve. That's the writers 30 years ago when this movie came out. So now Hudson decides, since he's being threatened by the mafia, to go through and do this heist to steal this horse, this Da Vinci horse. You can see where this is going, from this auction house. So he's planning the job with his boy Tommy, Five Tones. And Tommy says, hey, I got this plan. We'll deal with the security cameras, so on and so forth. So they go up to the roof. There's this ridiculous scene where they trust their lives to, like, climb between two buildings to, like, a life preserver that they've stolen out of the pool area and the thinnest rope you've ever seen. So they climb across these, like, two buildings. Now, once they get into the robbery, they're sort of scooting around the I don't know why. Maybe they just thought it looked cool, but they brought skateboards, which clearly when they're climbing between the two buildings, you can see no skateboards whatsoever. Somewhere they found in this auction house some skateboards. Maybe they were up for auction. Maybe Tony Hawk signed them. I don't know. I don't know, Trav.
Tony Hudson Hawk even, maybe, perhaps.
Oh my God, Trav!
What?
That's so good.
What happened?
Oh my God, buddy. That's the best joke. That's better than like 90% of the film Hudson Hawk. Oh my God,
Really
it's so good. So they start this robbery. They're doing "Swinging on a Star" is the song that they're timing the robbery to, which they say is like over 5 minutes long. It's not. Look it up. A, it's a great song, but B, it's not that long. So they go through and like they're so loud. They're like singing like show tunes on Broadway volume while they're trying to rob this place.
I mean, it makes sense why they got caught and why Hudson Hawk was in prison for 10 years, because they just run through burglaries singing show tunes at the top of their lungs with headphones on. They're not listening to what's going on. They got skateboards, and it's kind of a fun dance for them. And I was telling you when we were watching the movie, I was like, man, I think the Wet Bandits would have been a better candidate for this role because for them, they're screw ups and their confidence is absolutely false. You know that it is. But Hudson Hawk is so confusing because they paint him as a good burglar, but everything that he and Tommy do together is mind-bogglingly dumb.
It is. They do my boy Big Stan. They call him Big Stan dirty. So there's the Tommy sets up this sort of loop on the security camera footage. Everybody does that in every heist movie. They set up a loop on the security cameras. But the guards. So my boy, he was one of the guards there. Big Stan. Everybody's got to pick out a favorite character in a movie, and this one for me it was Big Stan. Big Stan. Mm-hmm. He's one of the guards there. He's a heftier fella myself. I've gained a few pounds, so I'm relating to Big Stan. You know what I'm saying? And so he's sitting in this chair. He's tired. He's a bigger guy. He's been walking around all over the auction house while these other bozo guards are sitting in the control room. So he dozes off in the chair. So the other security guards go bah, 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 and scare him on the radio. They do him dirty. He gets scared. The chair breaks and smashes into a bazillion pieces. Now, fast forward a little bit later. That's how the security guards realize that the footage is looped, is that chair is like back in there. So they come running in and they catch Hudson Hawk and Tommy in the middle of this robbery because, again, they stop to sing and dance in the middle of this robbery. So they try to get away. They run. They get to the top of the building. They decide to jump off of the building. Now, this is going to be a running gag through this movie. And we commented on this. We talked about in The Crow, everyone dies by falling off of a building or out of a window. In this movie, no one ever dies.
Damage.
Yeah, nobody takes fall damage. Exactly.
No fall damage in this movie. No, absolutely not.
It's like in Elden Ring, everybody tries to trick people into jumping off the cliffs. Here, you would be just fine if you did that, right? So they jump, Tommy and Hudson jump off of this. They don't bother to explain it. They just do a hard cut to the next scene where Hudson is handing over the statue to Gates, the crooked parole officer, and the Mario brothers. When all of a sudden an English butler, and of course he's an English butler, he's got to be named Alfred, comes into the room and just kills Gates for some reason, smashes the horse over his head and kills Gates. He does a top dollar move here and just kills a guy for no reason with his swords. He's got not swords, he's got like knives. He's got Assassin's Creed-esque hidden knives in his sleeves that he pops out and takes Gates out with.
Yeah, it's one of the first parts of the movie's been silly up till now, but now you're like, okay, now that's weird. What are we? This is like Mortal Kombat characters in here? What is going on with that? When the butler's just murdering people with his Assassin's Creed knives, you start to suspect everybody at this point.
That's right.
And so, so he shatters the horse over his head. Get to that gemstone. That's where one of those gemstones was hidden that Da Vinci was hiding everywhere. And at that point, I just realized, when you watch Gates go down right there, I realized, like, if you're Hudson Hawk and you've been following your parole officer around and he's ushered you through some hard times over the years, but you watch him get murdered. You've made some bad choices. If you're in a room and you see your parole officer get killed, you're like, man, I'm in the wrong place. I have made some bad decisions.
This is not going the way I planned. Yeah. I like that in the notes too. The knives that come out of his sleeves are called switchblade machetes. I'm just thinking of like a giant switchblade, but that's not exactly what it is either. But you know what? You'll watch the movie, you'll find out. So, English butler guy, as well as the Mario brothers, menace Hudson Hawk, decide to leave him alive. Presumably, maybe to do additional robberies. We don't know at this point, but they leave. So Hudson, after watching a guy literally get axed right in front of him, decides he's going to show up at his buddy Five Tones bar the next morning to try to get that cappuccino. He tries to get the cappuccino. Of course, he doesn't. The machine explodes because apparently cappuccino machines are capable of explosion. I didn't know this, but it's a good thing I know now, so I'll wear like a helmet and maybe some swimmies when I try to make a cappuccino. But Tommy's like, hey, man, look at this in the paper. This is weird. They're saying the horse is still at the auction house. Well, this is just too much for Hudson to bear. He says, this is a mystery. Why are they still saying the horse is there? You know what? I need to know. For some reason, I saw a guy get murdered in front of me last night, but you know what? I'm not in any danger. I'm the title character of this film. I'm gonna go to this auction to see if I can figure out what's going on.
Yeah, so he goes to this auction, and he meets a lady who happens to be Kevin's 90s crush, Andy McDowell. But this is
me, man. It is like it's neck and neck toss up between Andy McDowell and Minnie Driver. I can't both of them are just so beautiful that the words won't come out of my mouth to describe them. Man, I'm sweating over here. Travis, I'm sweating over here.
It's visible and palpable. Good for you, buddy. I mean, you seem to be having an adolescent reawakening as we speak.
I'm just concerned that you said my sweat was palpable. What are you doing with my sweat, Travis?
I got to be honest with you. When I said the word palpable, I was like, boy, I wish I could take that back. That did not fit. But it's a good thing you drew attention to it, unlike this movie, which will just make something not fit and then never call back to it again. So good for us. We're better than this movie. But he does meet Anna, who's played by Andy McDowell. She's a Vatican antiquities expert, which has got to be paid. That's top dollar pay right there. She's got it made. And she's invited on stage at this auction to verify that the horse that Hudson saw a man get killed with is actually still that horse. I know it's confusing for you at home, but listen, this horse is still intact. And Hudson can't believe it when she says, yeah, that's the horse. That's it right there. And so during the auction for this statue that has supposedly used to have this gemstone in it that the butler now has, this flamboyant, impetus man, Darwin Mayflower, runs in. He's kind of a Jim Carrey character. He runs in kind of like he's in The Mask, and he declares a bid of $1 million, which is way too much.
That's a lot.
And immediately afterwards, an equally flamboyant woman comes in, played by Sandra Bernhard, who we all loved in the 90s. She was probably my top. She's probably up there for me. You had Andy McDowell and Minnie Driver. I was like, man,
you were a Sandra Bernhard guy. You know, when we were talking about this movie before we started pre-recording, I was like, oh man, Sandra, or pre-screening, I should say. I was like, man, Sandra Bernhard was really good in this movie. Yeah, she was great. I was wrong, Travis. I don't know why I remember that from 2007 or 8 when I watched this movie. She was not great in this movie.
She was rough. A lot of corny lines. I mean, it's not like she really oversold the villainous piece a bit, which maybe she also looked at the script and was like, I don't know if it's serious or not, but I'm going to go hard. She went hard.
That's right.
But yeah, she trots in there. She declares a bid of $1,000,001.
What?
Right, but we find out that she's actually the husband of the first guy. They're in cahoots.
We also get this pan around the room, and they make a ridiculous point of having. We find out later they're like CIA operatives, but this group of people eating different candy bars, which are their code names, which again, the whole point of having a code name is to sort of mystify who you are so no one can identify you. So you carrying a large Almond Joy in your shirt pocket where everyone can see, and your code name Almond Joy completely mitigates why you would be named Almond Joy to begin with. But it doesn't matter. It's super fun, and also I really wanted an Almond Joy.
It did. I wonder if those candy companies, because we got Snickers, Almond Joy, Kit Kat. I want to say there was another one in there.
Snickers. There was a Snickers.
Snickers. Yeah. What was the big guy's name?
Butterfinger.
Butterfinger. Yeah, Butterfinger in there too. So I wonder if there was some. I mean, they probably had to pay for that, right? They got to.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's like free advertising. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, but. Anyway, so those folks are in there, and they're eating their candy, and it's kind of noticeable that they're kind of being suspicious, I'll say. But as soon as the auctioneer's gavel hits the podium, it explodes. What? Kills the auctioneer, poor fella, scatters him all over the place, and then Sandra Bernhard and her husband leave unscathed. Big ruckus. Oh no, what'd they leave with, we wonder. And meanwhile, our guy, Hudson Hawk, he spots Anna, saves her from this one single column that's about to fall right on top of her. And it's a long, drawn-out scene where she sees the column falling but makes no move to get out of the way of it. And then moments later, he also spots this column mid-fall. And he's like, oh, man, I should go save her from that column. And she go back to her, and she's like, dang, that column's probably going to smash me. And then back to him, he's like, I'm going to run over there and save her from that falling column before it smashes her. And she manages to be saved by it, which is good.
I'm going to tell you this, man. This was the scene that made me the angriest because I was like, my dear, sweet Andie MacDowell would definitely sidestep that column. She wouldn't just stand there. How dare they? How dare they? You know, of everything in the movie, that made me the angriest.
Yeah. And then immediately after that, he got knocked out by a Pegasus.
Yeah, he did. So he wakes up in an ambulance, but instead of doctors, he's there with the Mario crime family, which at this point just consists of the two Mario brothers. And they're planning to kill him. Okay, so again, here we go, Bond villain-esque thing. It pops up all the time in movies. He's been unconscious. They could have easily murdered him at any point up until the point where he wakes up, but they decide they want him to wake up. So our boy Hudson here decides, well, you know what, today I don't want to be murdered. This is not the day that I want to be murdered. So he straight up hits one dude in the face with just a rack of syringes, which again, okay, now I don't want to impress you, Travis, but as a young man, I volunteered with the rescue squad, and
wow.
yeah, I know, and we did not roll around with uncapped syringes sitting in the back of a moving vehicle. That's just something we didn't do. Now maybe it's different in the big city in New York City. I mean, it's fast, it's topsy turvy. There's a lot of things going on, so we'll give the movie just a shred of reasonable doubt here that they had these. So he stabs the one guy.
Yeah.
And then the other guy's trying to attack him. He kicks him. Somehow he kicks him. And no one touches the doors. Again, there's latches on these doors and handles to keep them from flying open. But the doors fly open. And now we have Bruce Willis hanging by a sheet on this gurney, just sort of, if you can imagine, like, water skiing maybe off the back of this ambulance on a gurney. He's toe tapping on either side to sort of directionally keep the gurney going forward and not tipping over.
Yeah, a little Wave Race 64 there. Looked pretty fun, I'm not going to lie.
Nice pull, Travis.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that whole syringe thing didn't set some regulations in motion, you know? Just maybe that's why you didn't have to experience it. Yeah. But as he's flying down the freeway on an ambulance, we're talking, he's going to at least be going 45 miles per hour on this gurney beside the ambulance at this point because he's outside of it. Some people outside in their cars are heckling him. And I can't help but think, like, if I'm in their position, let's say you're driving down the highway, you're going down the interstate, and you just happen to look over, you see a guy on a gurney fly out of the back of an ambulance, right? And he's still kind of attached to it with like a sheet or something, and he's just kind of skittering in and out of traffic. And are you going to roll down your window and be like, hey, man, are you going to die? Because that's what two women did in this movie. They weren't like, oh, no, let me call 911, get you some help. They're like, hey, man, are you going to die or something? That, for some reason, honestly, it upset me. I don't think that's how real people are. Yeah, it kind of upset me a little bit. Like, I don't think that's how people act. That's I've been to New York City, and I can assure you that's exactly how people would act. Yeah. I'm just kidding, folks from New York City. You're all real kind, compassionate, loving people. But in this case, they definitely heckled him a little bit while he's hanging out of the back of this. Now, at some point, the sheet rips, and one of my favorite denials of physics happens, where somehow this gurney rolls for like at least 12 miles after it has no means of propulsion, but it just keeps going for like 12 miles. A bunch of stupid things happen. Somehow or another, he manages to toss coins into a toll booth and go through the toll booth. The ambulance goes through. The ambulance wrecks. It explodes. And kind of a bummer for the ambulance driver. I feel like he's an innocent victim in this, but the Mario brothers are dispatched. Now, again, this gurney rolls for approximately, I don't know, maybe another 37 miles, something like that, of its own power before it stops right at the feet of the candy bar gang that we've sort of met earlier. Now, at this point, my boy
my man James Coburn shows up and divulges that this is his crack team of candy bar code-named agents, and that he actually works for the CIA, and they're conducting a sting operation. And I know, Travis, you're sitting there and your eyes are kind of glazing over and you're like, this sounds so stupid, Kevin. And it's because it is stupid. It is, all of it is stupid. There's no need for there to be a CIA sting operation in this, other than just maybe, in movie, like a lot of caper movies, and maybe Bruce Willis watched a bunch of these, as the movie goes, you're sort of peeling back layers of the conspiracy and who's going to be backstabbing who and so on and so forth. Maybe they were shooting for some of that here, but it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel earned. But anyway, it's James Coburn, and of course he's effing fantastic.
He's great in this, and like you said, this is a CIA sting operation against the couple from the auction house, the Mayflowers, Darwin and what's-her-face. I'm going to call her what's-her-face Mayflower, okay?
I like it.
And so, but Hudson, he's now an unwilling accomplice to this because they got the footage of him being a part of the heist from before. So now they've got him kind of back into a corner. He's now their puppet. So he's as you do with any, you knock him out, put him in a wooden crate. That way you can take him wherever you want. So they put him in a crate of packing peanuts, and then he wakes up, and he's been sedated, and he escapes from his packing crate, and now he's in a different place all of a sudden, kind of a fancy place. And he looks out of a nearby window. He sees a Coliseum. Where are we? Coliseum? Gosh dang! A lot of vineyards around here. It's hot. Tuscan sun. What's going on? We're in Rome. Welcomes him to Rome. Yeah, Alfred's there too. Guess what? The machete butler, I'll call him.
God, can I put an ad on Indeed for a machete butler? I need at least two.
Can you imagine you're just out in the field and you're like, Butler, and he just comes and gives you a new sharp machete? Oh, that'd be great.
God, that'd be the
machete
freaking best. I want a machete butler for days when I feel like working hard, and I want a chainsaw butler from days when I want to take it a little bit easier. So I have a problem with this, Travis, and so Hudson Hawk has been packed in this crate, presumably. I mean, from New York to Rome, I didn't check how long it would take to fly. Presumably more hours than an unconscious man can hold his pee-pee and poo-poo. And he comes out of this crate, and he's not covered in pee-pee and poo-poo.
I know. I was also taken aback by that. I think we said at the same time. We almost harmonized. We were like, "Where's the pee-pee and poo-poo?" Yeah, unbelievable. Those packing peanuts would all be clumped together, in my opinion.
Like, I can't watch an episode of 24 without having to go to the bathroom twice, So,
and we could talk about this later, but I have some issues with the bathroom rituals of Jack Bauer in 24. He needs to go more often.
He really does. Yeah. I think you're onto something there. So, but you know what? Honestly, I can't blame the movie makers, producers, actors, and everyone else for not wanting him to come out covered in feces. I guess. Okay, fair. You got me. Of all the dumb things in the movie, I can probably let that slide because I don't.
They did pack him basically in a human litter box.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah,
he's fine.
Yeah, Styrofoam's very observant. So he comes out and he gets to meet the Mayflowers in their corporate boardroom. Again, I don't understand this plot, but the Mayflowers apparently have this idea that they're going to dominate the world by getting this gold machine and then crashing all the world markets and then having the gold supply, which again, he says, this Darwin Mayflower says that he's a billionaire. He's like the Elon Musk of his time, of the 90s. So I imagine with billions of dollars, you could probably buy enough gold that if you really wanted to actuate this plan, you could. But we're just gonna turn our brains off. We're gonna forget that. So he says to Hudson, I've reversed engineered these plans for Da Vinci's gold making machine. Now I need you to go out and I need you to steal these gemstone pieces. Now the first one is is going to be in I think it's a codex. That's what they call it, in a notebook that belonged to Da Vinci, and it's in a very secure place, which is the Vatican.
Hudson, now he's off to this museum in Vatican City. He's going to case the joint because that's where the goods are. He's got to get this codex. But while he's in this museum and he's casing the joint, he spots Anna again. Now this movie is kind of it's a lot of coincidences. Yeah. There's a lot of just running into people. I mean, earlier we were on a stretcher for what'd you say, 49 total miles if you did the math.
At least.
And we ended up at the hands of the candy bar gang. So of course we're going to run into Anna here, who's giving a tour. And at the end of the tour, now we see the codex there. It's in the middle of the room. Clearly very protected under big, there's a big cage hanging overhead. There's a security glass, but there's also just an innocent little girl with a toy elephant.
Well, hold on. Now, she's not innocent. She's like, listen, this was my boy Pokey. Okay, Pokey was the name of the elephant, and she's banging poor Pokey against the doggone railing of the stairs like this psychotic little girl. She looks like the character from Hey Arnold that has like the serious unibrow. Like that's what she looks like. And I was like, oh,
and
man.
the mustache.
And the mustache, yeah. And I'm like, what's she doing? What's she doing to Pokey? What's she doing to Pokey? You know how I have a soft heart for animals. I even have a soft heart for like stuffed animals.
For stuffed ones.
Yeah.
And then the thing is that she's like 13 and has a stuffed animal though. That's what's weird about it.
Oh no. Yeah, I guess she does. But so in Hollywood world, there are different rules for different ages of kids that you want to have on set in a film. So they probably, a lot of times, that's why when you watch a movie with like high school age kids, they're like 35 in real life, Yeah. But like, for example, if you have like a baby in a movie, the baby I think can only work for 15 to 20 minutes, and then it has to get a break. So when they have a baby in a movie, they have like 12 babies so that they can just cycle the babies out to keep filming. It's a really bizarre thing. But Hudson Hawk decides to test the security.
Let's just move on from that. Just
I don't need to talk anymore about baby politics in Hollywood.
Oh, thanks for letting me in on that.
Yeah. So now that you know, wait till I tell you what happens when you tell a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith. What?
Oh my!
I know that's going to be like a dated reference by the time this comes out. The world's going to be onto some like other awful thing that's happened. But Hudson Hawk, that's why we do movies from the 90s, is because we know that the references are already dated. So he grabs this elephant after he basically asks, oh man, Annie McDowell out on a date. After he asks her out on a date and she agrees, he chucks this elephant into the or at the codex to I presumably test the alarm system. I guess
it works.
And then my boy Pokey the elephant gets smashed by this cage that comes down, and that's it. That's the end of Pokey, man. This is like somebody's, you've seen that sad end of like Toy Story 3, or Toy Story 4. Like this to me was at least as sad as that.
I mean, and the little girl sees it too. That's what they even cut to the little girl's horrified face as she watches Pokey just get severed in half. It's rough. But then there's an Italian Stan who's here too. There's a larger security guard here, kind of mirrors the one from before, who happens to run in there last minute and gets gassed to death, which is sad too. So there's a lot of tragedy.
I don't think it was death
here.
gas. I was just taking it as like knockout gas, maybe. Like I think
those
big Italian Stan is okay. I think he's okay.
I thought it was like DDT. Everyone was just croaked and just.
Oh man, gosh, I hope not. So after that happens, there's a kerfuffle, and Hudson Hawk gets out of there. And he's scheduled his date. Now he's trying to duck the there's like these two redheaded twins. I can't remember what they're called in the movie, but like they're working for the Mayflowers, and so he's trying to like duck them, and he runs into the Kit Kat team, and for some reason, or not Kit Kat team, Kit Kat, and the whole candy bar team. But for some reason, and again, this is one of those things that you get that never pays off in the movie that I noticed. Now, I might have missed something, but Kit Kat gives him a note that says, look out for the blue wire, after he knocks out poor Butterfinger's tooth. That was just uncalled for.
Yeah, and it's. I think it's fair to point out too at this point. I don't know if we've gone into detail. I don't know that we really need to, but the candy bar team, they're all very distinct in their makeup. So one thing to point out is that Kit Kat is mute, and he's played by David Caruso, who's like the CSI guy, right? Yeah. I think it's CSI. It's CSI. Yeah, he does the sunglasses bit.
I think it's CSI Miami, if I remember right.
Right. So he never speaks. He just hands notes around. And then there's Almond Joy, who just kind of silently murders people in a weird way. But then Butterfinger, who happens to be my favorite character because he looks like a Norwegian pro wrestler with, I'm going to say, contemporary mullet for the day. Yeah. One of those that's a little bit, kind of curled in the back, kind of thin, not very long, but shaved on the sides. Real big, massive dude. He's supposed to be like the scary henchman of the group, but Hudson deals with him every single time. So it's kind of a fun, eclectic group. I actually did like the candy bar team when they were on screen because you never knew what was going to happen. They're all weird.
I sort of felt bad for Butterfinger because he was kind of like the is it Lenny or George from Of Mice and Men?
It's
sort of
be Lenny.
Yeah, Lenny. He was sort of the Lenny of the candy bar gang, and I was like, he doesn't seem like a bad guy. He just gets mistreated the whole movie. Like, he seems like if you gave him a good direction and a better shot at life, he would have been like a nice person to have around. Now, Travis is someone who has had a pretty rockin' mullet at one point in his life. On a scale,
very recently,
on a scale from 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, where would you rank Butterfinger's mullet?
I think it's a solid 6. I think it's a good 6. Yeah,
all right, it's above average.
It looks good on a big guy. Yeah. It kind of gives me you remember what was it called?
Randy
the
Rhodes.
Nasty Boys.
What about Randy Rhodes?
Randy Rhodes or the Nasty Boys from WWF. He kind of has that look, man. And I don't know, I dig it. I think it says 90s bully, and I think it's a perfect look for Butterfinger.
It's a perfect look. So Hudson Hawk tells them, "Hey, I need these materials for this robbery that I'm going to do tonight," which seems like, oh wow, he's going to do this whole robbery tonight. So he sneaks in to the is it Lateran Museum?
That's how I would pronounce it.
That's how you pronounce it? Okay, all right. Good.
That's how I would do that.
Good. So he uses a mirror to deflect security lasers, which I think we established probably wouldn't work because the beam is still broken, but we're just going to ignore that. He uses a fishing pole to hook the codex. Basically, some serious Looney Tunes, like Foghorn Leghorn trying to steal from where the like where the dog is. I can't remember where the dog is or what the dog's called. Like that kind of level. He does basically that. He does get it. Poor Italian Big Stan gets caught in the cage. Hudson does this weird grappling hook escape where he swings around. He does a lot of swinging on ropes in this that shouldn't work because he's not measured the ropes to make sure that he's not going to just smash into the ground in his death. Definitely jumps out of a window here and doesn't die. He falls on a light pole. And then this is all during the escape, and it is a very Looney Tunes escape chase sort of scene going on here. And then he falls into the back of a chicken truck.
And this is going to pave the way for one of the more sexy scenes in the film that I'm excited to get to eventually. But yeah, and I don't know, it's kind of weird, because we just watched him go through that test with the museum earlier with Pokey, and then he comes back later that night, and they don't even add security. They're just like, man, that thing worked great. We're just going to trust that cage not to kill one of our own guards in another hijinks later tonight. And so all of this stuff, he escapes, falls into this chicken truck, which just happens because remember, I don't know if you missed it, Kevin said it quick. When he met with Anna earlier in the museum, they made plans for a dinner date 10:30 that night. Okay, don't be late because she's hot. And then it happens that he falls, bangs his whole entire rectum on a light pole, falls into a chicken truck, and then hops out and ends up in dinner. It's amazing. She just happened to get a table outside. He lands boom, eating dinner with her, and just plays it off like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm just, just pardon these feathers that are floating everywhere. How are you? What time is it?
And Travis, you like looked away for a second, and then you looked back, and you're like, how did he get there? Like, what is he? How did he get to the table with Anna? And I was like, he just fell off the truck, and he was magically in the right spot. And you were like, that didn't happen. I was like, no, it did. It's exactly what happened. And so
crazy.
So he has this, and he's Bruce Willis. He's charming. I mean, if I were Anna, I'd be into some Hudson Hawk Bruce Willis charm. And so he sort of charms her. He ends up back at her place. And and it's been a while. It's been a while since I've been on a first date, and it's been a while since I've gone back to a lady's place. But somehow Anna ends up like he ends up with his shirt off, laying in her floor on a pillow. She's sitting on his back and giving him a massage.
Yeah, you know how it is when you go on a first date and almost nearly immediately you have your shirt off and you're on your belly, she's on your back. Nothing led up to it. That's just how things are. And she's on your back, kind of straddling, and she's just kind of picking over spots on your back. She's like, "What's this? Hope it ain't malignant. What's this? What's that?" Kind of feeling around. And then she gets to a part on your body, and she's like, "Oh no, what's this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's from a chicken truck earlier. Remember before dinner you saw feathers floating around? Oh, that's a chicken truck wound." And you could tell that got her going. She was like, "Oh my God, chicken truck wound."
Well,
this is also we passed the ketchup scene from earlier, which happened at dinner, but this whole section is so weird.
It's
so funny,
so weird. And we're gonna get to a similar scene. I hope I'm not throwing any spoilers here, but we're gonna cover the film Roadhouse later this season. So Travis, that's actually a spoiler for you. You didn't know we were doing that, so
I had no idea.
I pulled
I'm
that
excited.
out of the bin. So that's something for the listeners to look forward to. But there's a similar scene in there where a character's looking at Patrick Swayze's scars, like, "Where'd you get this one? Where'd you get this one?" Well, he doesn't have a story as exciting as I have a chicken truck injury.
Oh man, and you could tell it set her off too. She was like, "Wow," but also. It's fair to say, and I even mentioned this to you because I had not seen this movie before. I'm like, she's coming on to him awfully hard. Something is up.
Something sticky's about to happen. By the way, the way you said malignant was was super hot, Travis. I just want you to know that. Buddy.
Is that what's up?
Yeah, that was what's up. So she actually drugs him here by giving him a cappuccino, which he doesn't get to drink because it's not actually cappuccino, it's a drug, and he passes out. That's when we find out that Anna is in league with Kaplan and the Candy Bar CIA gang. So they pick him up, they take him back. Anna's like, "Hey, I want to meet with Kaplan. It turns out that you guys are using Hudson Hawk here. I need to know what the deal is. I'm the liaison for the Vatican." And there's a pretty useless scene that happens here. The only thing of note, at least for me, was that Anna, as she's leaving after meeting Kaplan, spots the Mayflower's dog. So she sort of gets a hint that that the Candy Bar CIA agents are working with the Mayflowers. Now, at this point, Anna heads back to the Vatican, where she is in a confessional. We see her in full nun gear. She's wearing the wimple, the whole 9 yards, and we find out that she's actually a nun. Now she's doing this sort of confession, and she says that her and Hudson Hawk fooled around, and I just went like, is like 2 kisses and a weird chicken injury back rub, does that constitute fooling around in your book, Trav?
Dang, dude, that's like 7th base. A woman gets down to your chicken wound, she's in a delicate spot.
That's a keeper right there. That's marriage material, I think.
Yeah, man. She was in there deep.
Well, So yeah, she kind of does the confession thing, and they have a little dialogue there. Now, meanwhile, Hudson's back with the Mayflowers after he's been drugged, and they tell him like, hey, look, we need you to go steal the iconic kind of screw helicopter sort of thing that you see the sketches of that Da Vinci did from the Louvre. And Hudson says, like, man, I'm not doing this unless you give me the skinny, unless you tell me what's really going on here. I've got all the power here. You supposedly need me to do this. He does this weird, creepy dance thing with Sandra Bernhardt that doesn't make any sense. After she like straight up murders two dudes. Like if I saw Sandra Bernhardt straight up murder two dudes, I would not be inclined to grab her and do a little dancey dance. But hey, you know what? I'm not Hudson Hawk. I'm not Bruce Willis. I don't have his joie de vivre.
If I saw Sandra Bernhardt, period, I wouldn't dance with Sandra Bernhardt. So I mean, he's taken some leaps for sure. But so they blindfold him, and then they just kind of leave him in the room, and they're going out in the courtyard to talk bad guy talk, right? They're going to be like, it's what we're going to do, what we're going to do. And I hear one of them say, and they didn't really focus on it in the movie, it's kind of like a passing thing. They're like, you don't think we should have left the two former partners alone there in the room, do you? And you're kind of like, what's going on? But then you move the blindfold. Tommy's in the room.
Boom.
Tommy 5-tone.
What?
Hey, Tommy.
What?
And he explains that, hey, man, I knew the plot the whole time. I thought it'd be fun. Give you, prison was rough on you. I thought maybe it'd give you some action. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, oh, so these two now are in the same room, but now they're kind of against each other now. Hudson's not happy about this. He and Tommy get into a struggle, and they burst out of the room, and you just see them kind of fly out of the building, just fly out of the building, drop down, I'm going to say, I don't know, about 6 floors, hit the ground fine, bounce up. But then there's a shot, and you're like, oh, no, what happened? Tommy's bleeding now. Oh, God. Hudson shot Tommy. Then out of nowhere, an ambulance appears. Well, that was great. Who called 911? That's impressive. Ambulance appears. Shoves them in there. They speed away, and as a viewer, you're like, all right, what just happened here? Was that staged, or is Tommy really hurt? Are Tommy and Hudson fighting? What is going on? Who has been double crossed, triple crossed, or quadruple crossed at this point? I have no idea.
Well, everyone, including the audience, you and I, Travis, I felt very betrayed at this point. Well, we find out as they're rolling down the road in this ambulance, they pull up and they do this, like, it's in like every heist movie where like they drive a car into another, like a box truck, and then suddenly they disappear. So they do that in this. They drive up into a truck that's got the sort of Vatican logo. There's probably a more appropriate or clearer, more distinct name for it, but it's eluding me at this point. So they roll down, and they drop out of the truck. They're arguing as sort of like a bickering old couple-esque thing. There's a lot of that. Like, they tried really hard to give Hudson Hawk and Tommy like a chemistry that they just don't have in this movie, in my opinion. Like, I agree. And this movie in general tries so hard to make the one-liners work, and they just don't. They're just bizarre, non sequitur one-liners that just don't work. They just don't work. So that doesn't matter. None of that matters, because we find out that, well, it does matter actually, but because that's probably the reason this is rated at like a 1.1 on Letterboxd. But for the sake of recapping the plot, it doesn't matter. So Hudson and Tommy hop out of this box truck, and they meet up with Anna. And he's trying to put the moves on Anna, and she kind of politely declines. Now, of course, we know this is because she's a nun, which of course Hudson doesn't know at this point. So they retire back to Anna's apartment, and they're sort of planning their next steps. They think, okay, well, we definitely tricked the Mayflowers and the candy bar gang, and they don't know that we're, what we're up to. They don't know that we're going to try to procure these gemstones ourselves and foil their nefarious plot. Well, of course,
and it's fair to say, I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but Tommy wasn't actually hurt. He's covered in ketchup. So,
covered in
that
ketchup.
was the whole foil.
Ugh.
Not even shot. He was in on it the whole time.
Well, they wake up the next morning, and Anna's gone out to grab some breakfast, so she's nowhere to be found. Well, bam, pow, boom, the candy bar gang comes rolling in.
No.
Yeah, they were wise to their subterfuge. They were not tricked or fooled, or at least if they were, they weren't fooled for a while. And then we're talking about James Coburn, all right? This guy wasn't born yesterday, all right? He's a wise man. He played Brit in The Magnificent Seven. Yeah, CIA. He talks earlier about how he loves Rome because it's the first time he strangled someone barehanded. You know? So they sort of show up, and Almond Joy's got this. From what I can tell, the props master just took the ends off of a pin and said it was a dart gun, and she hits both of them with some sort of paralytic dart, which has the magical property to paralyze everything from the neck down, but they can still move their heads for some reason. I don't know how that paralytic works, but it seems like it works that way in the movie.
Yeah, very frantically moving their heads around. Very silly, very silly. Honestly, Tommy made me laugh a little bit here, but I won't admit that this movie's bad, okay? But Tommy did make me laugh a little bit.
It was good.
Yeah, but so this whole time, Hudson's like, you're not going to get me to go into the Louvre or the Louvre. I've heard it pronounced a couple ways there. And then,
but neither
Kaplan
one was that
him,
way. Neither one was the way you just said it.
Louvre, as they say there. And Kaplan, he's like, oh yeah, tosses him a newspaper, shows him, hey, guess what? Louvre's hit the previous night by a well-armed commando team. That's right, the guys from Contra, Bill and Lance. No, it was Kaplan's team. They popped in there, stole the helicopter design thing in a very, very straightforward way. None of this Looney Tunes burglary way that Hudson is known for. And so the last piece of that gemstone in the base of that helicopter is revealed, and Kaplan declares, Hudson, he's like, you're irrelevant now. We don't even really need you anymore because we got what we needed. So basically, you're disposable.
It's exactly right. And so again, we got some Bond villain-esque stuff here. Everyone leaves except for it's Almond Joy and Snickers. It's Almond Joy and Snickers. And Snickers, he's got like sticky bombs that he's launching out of some sort of sticky bomb cannon that he shoots into the apartment after they grab Anna. Now Anna comes home, and of course they grab her and kidnap her because they need her for some reason to decipher some Da Vinci MacGuffin thing that they cooked up.
She's an expert.
Yeah, she is an expert. That is true. And so Hudson and Tommy figure out a way to somehow shoot. Now they're paralyzed, so there's a little gag that happens here where they sort of kick the bazooka thing, and it shoots Snickers in the head with the sticky bomb, and then they kick Almond Joy, and she falls over, and she's got the little dart thing in her mouth, and Hudson blows really hard and shoots the paralytic down her throat, and then they, of course, jump out of a window as the apartment's exploding, and somehow they survive. Of course they do. I mean, they only fell 12 stories, so they're probably fine. They jump out. All right, they've survived, okay, but we know that the Mayflowers now have Anna, and they've cooked up this big scheme where they've rebuilt this Da Vinci machine. Now, our boys, Hudson and Tommy, decide they're going to have some fun storming the castle.
Yeah, man, just like they did in the old auction house. And they get back to their old ways of sing-songing their way through a heist. You know how a good cat burglar is always making loud, obnoxious sounds while singing old show tunes. They're back to that. And so, but meanwhile, back at the ranch, the Mayflowers and Kaplan, they're trying to get Anna, who they needed for the next level. Again, she's an expert. They're going to get her to show them how to assemble those 3 shards into that final gemstone for the machine, which is kind of like, if you remember as a kid when you get a bunch of paper and you fold it up and you make that thing where you kind of go inside and out with your fingers and you can say different stuff. You're like, oh, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm miming it with my fingers, Kev. You can see. Do you remember that piece of paper that would do that? Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that. Yeah. I'm great. That's great listening. Okay, but fold a piece of paper and put your fingers in it and do finger stuff. You know what I'm talking about,
we
folks.
all went to middle school at one point. Like, everybody knows 100% what you're talking about. And it was the thing that you would be like, either you would predict the future with it, or like it would have numbers on it or whatever. And you're like, you're going to marry Brenda Sue. And you know what? I
Man.
didn't marry Brenda Sue. I didn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's a shame.
I mean, I tried, but she was, she wasn't into me. So, I'll just.
I mean, Brenda Sue. What, did you go to school in 1956? Jeez Louise. No one's named Brenda Sue.
No, I did go to school with a Sue Ann though, and I always liked her name because she'd be like, Sue Ann, what are you doing?
That is adorable.
She's like, I'm going over to the cafeteria. All right, Sue Ann, I'll see. I had listen. I may not sound like it now, but you and I both grew up in the sort of rural South area, and we definitely have thick accents. We just decide to conceal them so people don't judge us so harshly. But you know who does have I'm going to point out, and if you guys have noticed, Travis is coughing a bit during this podcast, and that's because my man over here, he's got a little lung butter going on, but he doesn't care. He says, I'm going to podcast anyway, and I want to shout out your strength and your endurance,
Man,
and your dedication to Uncle Doug's DVD bin.
Hey, I appreciate that. While we're in this down moment, I have been charting all of my coughs on this piece of paper. I've time-stamped every one of them for you. So that's my Christian move to you.
So listeners, I'm going to cut out some of Travis's coughs, but not all of them. So let's
reference that you can't.
Yeah, I actually kind of want you guys to turn it into a drinking game, maybe. So just start the episode over at this point, and then just have a sip every time Travis coughs.
There you go.
Yeah.
You'll be hammered. For sure.
It really would be. But Travis, thank you for being here, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, dude. Yeah, I'm nearly dying. It's fine. It's midnight. I'm coughing. It's all good. But Anna, because she's the expert, they're grilling her. They're like, come on, tell us how to do the thing. She's faking an old hallucination because she also got hit with a blow dart in the neck, so she's hamming it up. She's talking about dolphins and melted snow, and she sounds like a dolphin. It's weird as heck. It's not funny. It doesn't make sense, but it happens. And you can tell even Andie MacDowell, in the moment of her acting these scenes out, is uncomfortable and is looking to a director off scene, be like, is this what you want me to do?
This is the worst thing I've ever done in my life. Good Lord, it's bad. So that happens for a while, and they sort of I guess that's how she's maybe trying. I don't know. I'm trying to sympathize with the screenwriters here and figure out what they were trying to go for. But maybe that's how she's like keeping the Mayflowers at bay and keeping them from killing her by thinking she's still under the effect of whatever drug this is. Well,
right.
As Hudson Hawk and Tommy Five Tone start attacking the castle, the Candy Bar Gang I keep calling them Candy Bar Gang, but the Candy Bar CIA operatives, code-named by the Candy Bars, decide to try to defeat those guys. And there's a whole lot of shenanigans that happen here, but the Candy Bar CIA agents sort of leave the room with Anna, or Andie MacDowell's character, and try to sort of take care of the situation. Well, they leave Kit Kat behind. At this point, for some reason, even though the CIA seems to be helping them, the Mayflowers decide to kill Kit Kat with a crossbow for some reason. I don't really get that. But there's some other shenanigans that are happening, and Kit Kat, as he's dying, sort of releases Anna, and she's able to escape. Now, Butterfinger is just outside the door, so Kaplan goes up to him and says, "Hey, I need you to go in there, and I need you to tell the Mayflowers what's going on out here. Report back to them and let them know that Hudson Hawk and Tommy are attacking the castle." Well, our poor boy Butterfinger walks in there with the best of intentions and gets shot with like 6 crossbow bolts. And doesn't react at all. He just turns around and walks back out to Kaplan and goes, "I think they betrayed us," and just dies right there. And it is one of those jokes that lands, and it is absolutely hysterical.
That is probably my favorite part of the movie, that scene. Just him immediately bleeding out of his mouth after he gets hit with like 6 crossbow bolts, and then turning around very methodically, opening the door back up, stepping out into the hallway, clearly dying, and manages to get a sentence off. Butterfinger went out, and honestly, if you thought the movie had been going downhill for the whole bit, you're like, it was never on a hill. It's definitely downhill from here. It sucks to not have Butterfinger for the rest of the film.
It really does. So while that's happening, as we mentioned, Tommy and Hudson have sort of split up, and Tommy is like singing and as loud as he possibly can. So of course he gets caught by the English butler with the sleeve swords, who takes him to the Mayflower's car and kind of locks him in the back with Darwin. Who at that point Tommy attacks, knocks out. There's this like fisticuffs things that sort of happens, and there's a bullet that goes through there. You think maybe like the butler gets kind of winged, so the car gets knocked into gear and is sort of heading towards a cliff. Well, while all that's happening, Hudson is getting into a hand-to-hand combat situation with the one and only Kaplan, played by the incomparable James Coburn, who's like throwing out these like wacky martial arts moves. Travis, and I know your favorite part of the movie is coming up, man.
Oh yes, of course. So a lot of karate, a lot of castle karate, I'm going to call it, going on.
Is that
here.
like wharf karate?
It's a wharf karate chaos, except it's castle style, and. It's not a great fight scene. It doesn't last very long. There's not a whole lot of choreography here, but at some point there's a bit of a scene where we're near the edge of the top of the castle. Again, everything in this movie takes place near a ledge.
It does.
Kaplan takes off running like he's going to do this big kick on Hudson Hawk, who ducks just in time for Kaplan to go off the building. Like, he's doing kind of I don't want to call it like a Liu Kang kick, because that's more of a bicycle kick, but it's just like the dragon kick. It's like it's toward kick, I think, and he just flies off. But the thing that's great is that he falls for about, I don't know, at least 80 feet, still in his kick formation. He never kicks or flails.
It's, you know what kick it is?
All the way down to the bottom.
In the Turtles, the Ninja Turtles arcade game, that like downward angled kick that everybody spams.
Kick, yes.
Yeah, the jump kick to hit the foot soldiers. That's exactly what he does.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, especially once he's gone too far, and the fact that he never changes his posture and goes all the way down like that kills me. I think that's so great.
Well, he lands on the hood of the I loved this like classic Cadillac limousine, by the way. I thought it was pretty boss. But he lands on the hood of that, and as it's obviously been knocked into gear, so both him and Tommy, who is locked in the back, fly off of a cliff, and the car explodes for good reason, or for good measure. And we're like, oh no, that's the end of Tommy. No one actually thinks that's the end of Tommy, but you know what? Hey, it's fine.
I did.
Yeah,
I was like,
you did?
I even said when we watched it, I was like, oh yeah, Tommy's definitely dead, because the car exploded before it hit the ground. It was like it was full of napalm.
It was. Well, that's the Mayflowers. They're just like carrying around napalm in the back of their Cadillac. So, meanwhile, Hudson and Anna get scooped up by the Mayflowers, who bring them back into the chamber where the Da Vinci machine is, and they say, "Hey, you've got to put these crystals together now that we've collected all of them, so that we can activate the Da Vinci machine." And Anna refuses to do so. Hudson grabs him. He's like, "Fine, I'll do it." And he acts like he's putting them together. Well, now, meanwhile, he's pocketing one of the pieces, so he doesn't put it together complete. And of course, we as the audience know that. Sorta. We know Hudson's kind of sneaky. So Darwin Mayflower grabs this malformed gemstone crystal piece that's supposed to go in the machine. It's not correct. Loads it into the machine. And it, of course, causes the machine to malfunction. It sort of explodes, spraying molten lead all over Mrs. Mayflower, or Sandra Bernhardt's character. She's dispatched that way. It explodes, and it sort of cooks. Oh! I kind of forgot that like Anna and Hudson Hawk have like I'm forgetting a really important plot point here. I know, Travis. I mean, so many of the plot points are so very important in this movie. But Hudson divulges to Anna, who's sort of upset with him that he helped the Mayflowers, that he actually didn't, that he put the crystal together wrong. And she's like, "Oh, that's so sweet. I appreciate." Oh my God, her face is burning with molten lead. And so anyway, Mayflowers are both dispatched by this like malfunctioning machine, and Anna and Hudson are trying to flee the again, there's no explosive material in this machine, from what I can tell.
That's important to point out.
Yeah.
A lot of things have been exploding here that shouldn't.
It shouldn't. So the machine's exploding. They're fleeing the Da Vinci castle, trying to get away. I think you called it a ranch earlier, which I also like. I like the idea that that Da Vinci lived on a ranch. So they're sort of.
I just segue all of my stories with back at the ranch.
Back at
I
the
know no other way.
ranch.
So back at the ranch.
And so-
it's like a hey dude thing. I can't shake it.
Oh man, Hey Dude! Thank you for bringing that to my mind. I'm gonna
You're welcome. Yeah.
binge some Hey Dude episodes. So they're sort of fleeing, and they run into that pesky English butler Alfred.
Yeah, that's that son of a bee, and he extends both of his Assassin's Creed sleeve machetes for extra intimidation's sake, and of course Hudson's going to get in a fight with him, and manages to get him to where he gets the butler to shove both of his sleeve machetes into one of the castle's wooden doors, slams the door shut, which is pretty cool because it causes the butler, our guy Alfred here, to be decapitated by his own freaking blades. It was pretty metal, actually. I'm going to say that's my second favorite scene to, unfortunately, watching Butterfinger be murdered. But then... And I don't know if we really touched on this part, but this is kind of a critical part here at the end. The Mayflowers have a dog, which was used earlier to I'm going to say, quote unquote, torture Hudson Hawk by kind of going to town on his knob while he was tied to a chair. And Hudson, he always is thinking about that moment. That's the best time he's had since prison, because the nun won't get with him. So the dog is in the way of Hudson here. And he just has some fond memories about that dog. So he's like, I know it likes balls and chasing tennis balls. So I'm just going to launch this tennis ball out the window. Dog goes after it.
He does. He shoots it out. He shoots the tennis ball out the window, and the dog jumps out the window. This is again one of those jokes they try to bring back several times, where the dog sort of like goes at Hudson's crotch, and it's super creepy. That they thought that was one of the funny parts of the movie, and they kept trying to bring it back. But at this point, I don't want to bring it up anymore, Travis. I know you don't want to bring it up anymore. This dog jumps out. This dog is, like, at the end of this movie, is scarier than any of the Doberman pinchers in Resident Evil. I could say that for sure. But he is dispatched by chasing this ball out the window. You know what? I don't like to see... There's a website called I think it's called Does the Dog Die? I think it's what it's called. That you can like search movies and see if the dog in the movie dies before you watch it, because so many people are triggered by dogs dying in movies. I don't think this dog died, because no one dies from falling out of a window in the Hudson Hawk universe. So that dog's probably fine, living somewhere in the Roman countryside with like a happy family. That even if it was an evil dog, I'm just gonna assume that that's what happened.
I mean, I just looked it up on that website, and it's like no one knows. They're like, I don't know. So we don't really know about the dog's fate there.
Well,
sorry.
I'm assuming he's fine. He's fine. We're gonna go with that. And so
there's no fall damage in this movie, so there's a good chance he's fine.
Yeah, no fall damage. And so Hudson and Anna hop on the Da Vinci flying machine, which is essentially like a winged glider, and they fire themselves out of the exploding castle, because of course they do. And it's again, time is really fluid in this movie. So they attack the castle. It's like middle of the afternoon. Cut inside, they cut back outside. It's nighttime for some reason. All of the things happen. This castle attack happens at night. For some reason, when they launch out of the castle, it's dawn, which doesn't make any sense in the timeline. Literally, all of the scenes take like maybe 20 minutes. So it would have meant that the Mayflowers just sat there and stared at Hudson Hawk and Anna for like 4 to 6 hours until the sun came up before they said anything else. But we'll just ignore all of that. They fly out, the sun's coming up, they land, and then they're somehow near a village. Of course they are. And so they walk into the village. Well, who comes walking over the hillside as they walk into the village? It's our boy Tommy Five Tones. He can't even believe he's alive. I think
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I think at this point, and his dialogue in this scene indicates to me that the screenwriters had given up all hope of living, because he's like, yeah, there were sprinklers in the back of the car.
Oh my
Who
God,
can believe
that was so
that?
bad.
Who can believe that? And like no one, literally no one, including the screenwriters that were writing this piece of movie. I'm sorry for all my potty mouth, guys. I'm gonna have to cuckoo myself out a lot, but I know, I'm so sorry, Travis. But like, even they had to admit at some point how ridiculous the fact that he was still alive was. But he is, and they sit down to have themselves a cappuccino. And Travis, I don't want to spoil anything in the movie. I mean, we've went through the whole plot, so let's not spoil it for everybody. But does he get to drink a cappuccino finally?
He does, but they call it a coffee, which drives me nuts. This is the scene where they ruin it. But he brings it to his sweet lips, takes a sip of a cappuccino that was just served to him, presumably hot, because I've had one before. They're not cold. That's a frappuccino. Hello. And he sips it super quick, chugs the whole thing, and just tosses it over his head like a big litter bug. I mean, you get a third-degree burns on your mouth and throat, and you just littered.
And he littered. That's the moral I take away from the film Hudson Hawk. And now look, guys, I know this isn't a great movie, and I really wanted to dog on it, but I did have fun watching it. I really did get some laughs in. And even if you're kind of, playing along at home in Mystery Science Theater, this movie, it is definitely a fun watch. I don't know that it deserves to be on the like movie wall of shame that it's on, but I don't know, Travis. I think I might have changed my mind. I think it might have just edged itself onto like my favorite bad movies list.
It's definitely I don't know. I don't want to say serviceable, because I don't really know what that means. That just sounded like a good word to say, but it's definitely one of those movies where you can find something in there to love. Like, I do love Butterfinger when he's on the screen. I loved Tommy Five Tone, even though he's got a stupid name. And some of the effects were great. Like the decapitation scene was pretty cool, and then the car going over the mountain. And it was the most exploded car I've ever seen in a movie. No one should have survived that. That was like a Dirty Harry getting rid of a body, blow up a car scene, and somehow Tommy walks away from it. So I mean, but it kind of has that going for it. I think its problem is not anything that, like, any particular thing about it. It's that it's hard to figure out its tone. I think if early on it had really set the tone of, Hudson Hawk is actually a very clumsy burglar, and it's an absolute joke that he is being sought for these. Then I could have been like in a total MacGruber mode and been like, all right, we're going to see like a guy that's a complete failure doing his best to make this work. But instead, it just flip-flops between like, is he bad and just written bad? Is it bad writing, or is it funny? And I hate that feeling. So that's just a little bit of a disconnect on their intentions, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're like, you and I are looking for good in the movie, because we just have spent like 6 hours of our life, and then I'll spend another like 2 or 3 editing the podcast. Like, we're just trying to find something that makes it worthwhile for us. But I mean, I got some laughs out of it. Like, I don't know. I think it's okay. If you like this movie, you know what, man? I'm in support of you. You know what? Like, I probably won't watch this movie again unless we re-record a podcast about it or something. I probably wouldn't watch it again. But
what if I just didn't hit record and you're like, no way, we got to do that whole thing again?
That's like one of my biggest fears, that I never hit the record button this whole time. Now you're going to be doing is it on NES Friend? You're going to be reviewing the NES adaptation of this game?
Absolutely. And I was wondering the whole time while we watched the movie, like, why did this get a... because I asked you before we watched it, I was like, was this based on a comic book? Hudson Hawk sounds like a comic book name. And we didn't even describe why. He tells Anna why he's named Hudson Hawk. And he's like, Hawk's a slang term for a type of wind in New York. And, Hudson, like the river. Like, that's not even cool. Like, just go by whatever his name is, Hawkins. Like, it's pretty dumb. But I couldn't figure out why the NES had a game for it. It doesn't seem like it should have been a video game movie. But I wonder if it's not because he references Nintendo twice in the movie.
He does, yeah.
If that
he
didn't
does.
like grease the skids for a tie-in that didn't really need to happen. But yes, on the Nest Friend YouTube channel, I will eventually be figuring out if that game is anywhere near close to being as good as the movie.
well, shout out to Nest Friend, man. You should definitely check out Travis's YouTube channel. He's got some great vids on there for some games that are real bad and some games that are real good. So, man, it's a good mix on there. But this particular film, while not being a critical darling, it went on to gross $97 million on a budget of $65 million. So it did make some money. Now, a lot of that money came from the overseas market. Domestically, it was kind of considered a flop. However, it did have a bigger opening box office than Thelma and Louise did. They actually opened the same weekend, and Thelma and Louise is loved, and this movie is obviously hated. They both opened on sort of Memorial Day weekend that year. But Hudson Hawk, it kind of quickly dropped off in that box office favor, and it's kind of been relegated not only to Uncle Doug's DVD bin, but one of the cringiest Bruce Willis films in his extensive catalog. I mean, he's got a ton of movies. So, I mean, it's hard to fault the producers and Willis for thinking they had a surefire hit on their hands. I mean, the movie, it had a lot of the conventions of the time and even gave Willis a chance to flex his comedic muscles. I mean, he was kind of known. I mean, this is on the heels of Die Hard, and before Die Hard, he was kind of known as a comedic actor. So you're thinking, okay, well, it's action, and he's a big action star, and he's good at comedy. I mean, surely this is gonna hit, but unfortunately, moviegoers and critics and even podcasters, Travis, don't agree that this film is worth digging out of the bin. But we did it anyway, buddy. You and me, we did it.
We did it. We did it for ourselves. We did it for Nest Friend, and we did it for Uncle Doug, the most important things in this world. And thankfully, we won't have to do it again. But, Kev, it was fun. A movie like this, always fun watching with someone else who's having fun watching it. A lot of riffing, a lot of laughing. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what movies like this are for.
Yep, I think so, man. So yeah, definitely if you're out there and you're on the fence about watching Hudson Hawk and you've listened to this all the way through, I mean, you basically got to at this point. Suffer with us. Suffer with us.
Please.
Well, if you like what just happened, you might like our other shows. For more Travis, head over to the Polymedia Network and check out his other podcasts. You got Tales of Lesser Medium, you got Polykill, you got Drunk Friend. There's a ton of great podcasts over there. Travis, you're on like 800 podcasts, including this one. Or you can check out Nest Friend on YouTube. If you like me, you can obviously listen to this podcast, or you can check me out on the Tabletop Board Gaming Podcast, Blue Peg, Pink Peg, where we kind of talk about board games, relationships, and we even, if you're a video game person, we even mention a few of these dirty video games in there every once in a while. If you like this, hop over to Patreon, man. Support the Polymedia Network. There's a ton of great content, and it kind of helps us keep the podcast content coming, the videos coming, all the good stuff that you enjoy coming out there. So definitely get out there and support us. And we end up not having to do like terrible Hudson Hawk-esque heists for Da Vinci relics, and that's all to the good, because it's hard to do podcasts when you're in prison. And we definitely want to thank our pal Harvest Black for our theme song. It's so good, we love it. And just like our Uncle Doug always says,
if Da Vinci was alive today, he'd be eating microwave sushi naked in the back of a Cadillac with both of us.